Good morning, everybody, and happy Saturday for a lot of us. Happy Thanksgiving break, all of that good stuff. My name is Tiffany Losasso, and I am the leader of the Google Educator Group in Colorado. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here today and we're going to be talking about Schoology, kind of a Schoology 2.0, 10 things you didn't know that Schoology could do. It's going to be led by a colleague of mine, Miss Melissa RIggs, who is also a Schoology Ambassador, and we're really, really excited for that. Before we get started, just a couple of pieces for you. Yes, this video will be available after the live event. You can just come to the exact same bit.ly and there it will live forever. So you can come back and rewatch and get all these awesome tips again and again. And then we also are offering an hour of professional development credit hour, so you can get a certificate for that. So at the end, we'll be dropping in how to do that. And doing so, you can also get entered into a contest for one free GEG Colorado pin. Even if you're not in Colorado, we want to spread the word because GEG Colorado is here for everybody everywhere who uses Google and who needs some help in the world of ed tech. So we're here for you. Awesome. So I think, we're ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Melissa on. Hi, Melissa.
Morning.
All right. So Melissa, we are so excited for all that you have, and I've got your screen pulled up and I'm going to hang out in the background. Folks, if you have questions in the chat, just drop the questions. Myself and another colleague, Laura Israelson, is in the background helping, and we'll be answering questions and bugging Melissa if we need. All right. Well, Melissa, take it away.
All right. Well, good morning. Thanks for giving up some time on a Saturday morning when I got up this morning at 5:45 to see my son off with a couple of his buddies for a mini senior trip to Glenwood Springs. It looked like it was going to be a grim and gruesome day here, but now the sun is out and it's beautiful. So I hope that your hour, you walk away with at least one thing that's new, and then maybe 9 things or more that you can pat yourself on the back and say, hey, I knew and I was already using that. So I am an awesome user of Schoology. So it started out to be 10 things you didn't know Schoology could do. And while I was building it, of course, now there's 10 plus. So I hope nobody's offended that you're going to get more than 10 suggestions today. But there's just so many great things that Schoology can do. It was hard to narrow it down. So let's get started. Just a little bit about me. I'm an education technology specialist for instruction. There's only one of me in District 49. We're on the east side of Colorado Springs. 22 schools, we have about 18,000 students, and right now we are on what we're calling E49 Red, which means students are home, learning from home, mainly because we had a lot of staff that were they were on quarantine or they had positive tests, and so the integrity of students was going down. So that's why we're on our E49, at least through Christmas break, which is sad. But anyway, I came to this position after 22 years in the classroom. I taught kindergarten for 16 years, and I taught 5th grade for 6 years. And part of that time, I was in a one-to-one iPad classroom, and that's where I first got introduced to Schoology. That was in 2013, and have loved it and used it ever since. I learned something new every day. I actually learned a couple of cool new things while I was getting ready for this presentation. So there's always something new popping up. So let's jump in. Here's kind of our table of contents. We're going to talk about media albums. I never used those when I was teaching, and so many great things you can do with those. We're going to talk about portfolios within Schoology, and I'm going to give you a suggestion for something that you can use outside of Schoology for your juniors and seniors. That's pretty amazing. My favorite thing is Pages. So we'll talk about some awesome things that Pages can do, and then we'll wrap up with assessments. Something that I actually found out last spring, and I told my husband, you know what? If I had known Schoology could do this, I might have stayed in the classroom longer because it answers the bane of my existence spelling test. So media albums, let's just jump in. They're organized spaces. You can add photos, you can add audio, you can add video. And so we're going to jump over into my sandbox. If you don't have a sandbox course, I would recommend you create one. Sandboxes are messy, so you can get messy in here. You can try new things and then nobody can see it but you. So I use this for trainings that I'm doing or to play around with new ideas. It's a great way to kind of get your feet wet with something without messing up an actual course. Another suggestion too, and now that Schoology no longer offers the free version, you might have to get your district Schoology administrator involved. But having a sandbox student that you can drop into classes that you're running so that you can actually get the student experience, especially if your students are on iPads, because the app experience is very different from what you're going to experience within the website version. Okay, so we're going to jump in here to my folder for GEG and jump into media albums. And the first thing I want to talk to you about is how you can use a media album to either activate prior knowledge or generate enthusiasm for an upcoming topic. So using photos related to an upcoming topic, you can ask students to comment on what they notice. You can use it as a hook to get students excited about an upcoming topic. So for example, if you were going to do something like Grapes of Wrath, or maybe Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, and you're going to be talking about the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl era, a picture like this would be great to set up in a media album. Students could comment underneath, oh, it's, how did that car get in the water? Well, it's not actually water, it's dust, and that's something similar. Maybe a student who's not all jazzed about learning about the Great Depression, but is interested in cars, this could maybe spark a study for them on the differences between cars today and cars back in that era. So I think it's a great way to get kids excited about an upcoming topic, or maybe just find out what they know already about it. The second thing that you can use a media album for, which I love, is lit groups. So adding book covers, I was shocked when I was looking into this how many book trailers there are out there. There's whole websites that are just devoted to different book trailers. You can also find them. Both of these came from YouTube. So you could put in a picture of a book cover. You could add a link to a book trailer, which are just usually a couple of minutes long. And then students could either vote for the next book that they want to use as a read aloud for the class. If you're going to be doing lit groups and you have 4 or 5 books on the same topic, students could put their name underneath the book in the comments for which one they're interested in reading about. Might even spark them to be interested in creating their own book trailers as well. This, oh my gosh, if I had known this when I was teaching kindergarten, I would have been so happy, because making anchor charts drove me crazy. It took a lot of time. It was very labor intensive. And they weren't always accessible to students. And especially now that we're in distance learning, they aren't always able to access it from home. But if you created a folder for anchor charts for math or ELA, or this is one for art, students could access that at any time. So if they were working on a project and they needed to go back and remember something, it would be here. Also, the great thing, as long as you're going to be willing to give credit for other people's works, if you search Google, there's millions of anchor charts already created. You can do a screenshot or download the picture of it, and then you can upload it in here. It would save you a lot of time making them, especially if that drives you crazy. But it's a great way for students to be able to access those anytime. So I don't know about you guys, but memes are one of the ways that I'm staying sane right now in 2020. Memes and GIFs, they crack me up. They bring a smile to my face. Sometimes they make me stop and think. Um, so you can use memes for a lot of things in media albums. One of the things that I saw a lot of were looking for memes where the punctuation makes you think different things than what was intended. Or there are a lot of memes that have spelling errors in them. So you could download those memes into a media album. Students could comment underneath to edit for correct punctuation or correct the spelling. Or you could have students search for those themselves and then upload them as well, or have them create them. A great site, I'm going to show you really quickly, is imgflip.com. I don't know about you guys. Part of my job is to make sure we are in compliance with Colorado and federal student data privacy laws. So I have not vetted this site for use with students, but it doesn't require a login. You can create a meme on here without logging in, without having a username or password. And if you have an ad blocker for students, then it will block the apps like the one you see at the top, this Weebly. But you can search for an image, you can upload a new template, and then it already has the top text and the bottom text set up so that you don't have to worry about fixing it together. So something about cornucopia, and then I can come down here. Just a bunch of veggies. And if you're not logged in, you can't download it, but it's very easy for students to take a screenshot of that and then they can upload it without having that login. Now you can also use, of course, Google Drawing, Google Docs, Google Slides for creating memes, but this one is nice in that you can search the pictures and it's already got the places for your verbiage in there without having to build it. So if you're in a time crunch, you want kids to do it quickly, this is a great resource for that. All right. Show and tell. I don't know how many of you guys are primary teachers. This was a staple for years of primary teachers. It was also the bane of many of our existences. It's boring. It's boring for you. It's boring for the other students. The only one who's having a good time is the kid who is actually talking. And sometimes that can go on and on and on and on. So especially while we're talking about distance learning, you could set up a show and tell media album. Students could come in. I posted a picture. These are 2 of my 3 dogs. And then I just wrote in the caption, these are my dogs, Bear and Tootsie, at the top of the stairs. So students, my classmates could come in and say, what kind of dogs do you have? Are they both black? Why are they laying at the top of the stairs? Do they like bones? Or I have 2 dogs too. I have a dog named Bear. So then you're building some of that community that we're missing, not being together actually face-to-face in the classroom. And then it's something that kids could be checking out, adding to, commenting on, looking at outside of the regular classroom Zoom time or in the evenings, and will give them that chance to share a little bit of themselves. Even, our high school kids, as much as they think they don't like to share that kind of stuff, they still do like to be able to share and find a connection with each other. So media albums, I think, would be a great way to keep that kind of going without the dullness of it. And the last one, I didn't even think about this. A friend of mine was talking about projects. Students were working on these project-based learning or a long-term semester-long project, but how it was difficult because they were working at home to see the actual progression and where they were making mistakes and where they were adjusting to those, or I've started this project and I really, really hate it and I've gotten this far, but I want it to switch over. So it kind of helps you see their thought process if you have them create a media album and then interject pictures. Here I just put pictures, the steps to make a cake. So you could label, first you mix the eggs, then mix the dry ingredients, stir both together. So even those how-to, that's so important at 4th and 5th grade level, being able to write a how-to paper, you could set those up in a media album as well in order to show those steps and progressions or to showcase their projects. We'll talk about portfolios here, I think next, but if you didn't want to do a full-blown portfolio, you want to do kind of a mini project portfolio, a media album would also be a good place to show that off as well. All right, so we are going to talk about portfolios. I love John Spencer. I think he's amazing. I have all of his books, and he just came out, I think this week, maybe last week, with the benefits of student portfolio projects. There's two types of portfolios. There's your portfolio that kind of follows you along, that you use for student-led conferences, or that you use for just having kids follow their learning progression. And then there's portfolios that are of a specific student project. But I just thought this was a great meme here with some different benefits of that. Schoology's always had it, and I will tell you honestly, I never used portfolios with my students in the classroom. It was not really built out well at the time. So we built our portfolios in Google Sites, but there's some similarities. Easiest way to get there, the only way to get there, is in Schoology, you're going to come over to where your name is and click the down arrow. You're just going to come down to your profile and click on that. And then once you get into your profile, over here on the left-hand side under info and blog, there's portfolios. So you just click on portfolios and it's going to bring it up, and you're just going to create a new portfolio. It's super easy. Students can do it pretty much independently. So you can give yourself a portfolio title. One of the things that we're using with some of our students in District 49 is a different portfolio for every grade level and year. So I might say 5th grade 2020, 2021, and then click here. And down here under portfolio items, I can add an assignment submission. So if I completed an assignment I'm really proud of within Schoology, I can pull it over. I can pull in files, links with URLs, or I can create a page. So one of the things that we've talked to our students about is if you create your, hold on, I always forget the titles, academics page. And then in this page, and we're going to talk about pages next, so you can do a lot of cool things within this page, but you can set this up, sections for your ELA, your math, science, social studies, any of those kind of things. You can preview what it's going to look like, change the font, change the size, add in tables. You can add links to outside things. So pages are pretty versatile in here. How we have students do it is an academic page, an extracurricular page. So if they're playing sports at the high school level in high school, or if they're playing a club team, if they take music lessons, if they have a hobby, volunteer work, any of those kind of things can go on under extracurricular. And then we also have an interest page, so things that they're interested in. So a little bit like Pinterest, or maybe your, I forget what it is off the top of my head, but where you build your interest board of things you want to do. So especially for our elementary and middle school kids, it's a great way for them to, whatever they're interested in. And then that changes over time, right? When I was in elementary school, I was going to be a rock star. I tell myself I'm still a rock star because I'm a teacher and I make differences with kids, but it's not the same as being like a rock and roll singer. But it helps kids not get so pigeonholed or feel like they have to have, there's only a few careers out there for them. The other thing in portfolios that I would suggest is having set time when students can go in and upload, or they can go in and adjust and edit and change things that need to be at the bare minimum, beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year. We have at middle school and high school an advisory period. So some days it's used for a study hall or support or working on projects, but they do have once a month where students are updating their portfolios and doing some work on that as well. Now, I do want to talk to you for just a second outside of Schoology, a site that is really amazing for your juniors and seniors if you are working at the high school level. It's a fairly new company out of North Carolina, and it's called Tallow. And Emily is our Colorado rep. So her information is right here on this page. She's fantastic. Tallow is pretty amazing. It's a student data privacy friendly version of LinkedIn. So one of the things that we actually heard from employers is we don't want to go in and look at a Google site. We don't have time to go, even if you share your Schoology portfolio with us, we don't really have time to go in and look at it. We want something that's more professional. We didn't feel really comfortable setting our students up on LinkedIn. It does have some student data privacy concerns for our under 18 crowd, but this is a great segue into that. It helps kids build a portfolio within there. They can add their academics, they can add their test scores, courses they've taken, advanced placement, any extracurriculars, those kind of things. And what's great about it is it's set up for career and college. So they actually have businesses that are in there as well as colleges. There are opportunities for scholarships and internships, work studies, apprenticeships, those kind of things. The cherry on the cake of Tallow is for students and for schools and for districts, it's absolutely free. Universities and big businesses pay the majority of money to keep it up and going, but that does not mean that only those colleges and those businesses are showcased. That's not how it works. So it's a pretty cool setup for our kids that are getting ready to either graduate and go on to college or into the workforce. It helps connect them with schools and with jobs and with scholarships that they might have no idea that are out there. So that's kind of a side out of Schoology, but I have a senior. My youngest is a senior this year, and so that is on my mind. Certainly, my two older ones are. My eldest is out. My middle one is finishing in a couple weeks, and both are out without any college debt, thanks to a lot of scholarships and working hard at part-time jobs. But anyway, so that's good. Now, the other thing, to go back to Schoology portfolios, we are a military community, so we have kids come and go all the time. So one of the great things about Schoology portfolios is you can export them out of Schoology if you're leaving the district, if something's happening and they're not going to be using Schoology anymore, or for graduating seniors. All that hard work doesn't just disappear with their Schoology account being closed down. Okay. My favorite thing ever is Pages. I love, 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 love Pages for a lot of different reasons. The newest one is creating Hyperdocs in there, which actually I just found out about yesterday. And so I was so excited to be able to talk to you guys about it a little bit because I also love, 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 love Hyperdocs. I think they're amazing. So here's some examples of different things that you can do within Pages, because sometimes when you're looking at your student, especially primary kids, and you're just looking at this laundry list of folders and words, maybe if you're a CLDE student, your English is not good, your reading skills are poor. If you're a special ed student, maybe you're dyslexic, or you're just an early elementary student and you're not reading, being able to create these pages with pictures that go with them are really very cool. Sometimes I'll create them within Schoology, within the page. Other times I'll create them in a Google Doc and then just copy and paste them over. But let me show you what this looks like if I'm in the actual page building. So I've put in, this is for a course that I'm teaching on Google Digital Cleanup. And so these are the different sections. So within the course, I've highlighted the Google Mail, and I've linked it to actually inside the folder for all of the assignments for Google Mail. The other cool thing about this is I can also link the picture. So I can just go in and copy and paste the link here. And then when my students click on the picture, it will take them into that folder as well. This is the coolest thing too, the display inline. So I have it turned on right now. When we go back, you see the actual entire thing. If I don't have it that way and I click Save Changes, instead of seeing all those pieces, you're just going to see my page. And this one doesn't have a title, it just has a period. So when I go back to edit and I come down to the display it inline, then it's going to display it right there within my folder or on my page. So that makes it really eye-catching, gets students' attention a little bit more, makes it easier for them to kind of follow along. Another thing that I use it with a lot is just for topic information. So on a digital citizenship course that I'm running for staff, trying to make sure they understand how important it is that students know about digital citizenship and how important it is that teachers are also practicing it. I have this little blurb set up. And so it's the first thing they see when they go into the course. It's right at the top. And kind of the same thing. I've just gone in and copied and pasted it within the page. And then my page is displaying inline. And they're going to see it there. I got this idea from Liz Lubeski. She's also a Schoology Ambassador. She works a lot with primary students, and she talked about a course banner. So if your students are coming into the course and what we would normally in primary talk about your stations for the day, your learning stations that you're going to work at, but you're working at home. Okay, here's your learning stations for the day. These are the things you're going to be working at home when you're not on your call with me, the teacher. So reading a book, work a tangram, write a story. You can also set this up as well to where they could click on it and go into maybe, we use Sora through Overdrive to get books out digitally to students right now that our schools are closed. So I might have a link to Sora right here, and my students can click on that and then choose a picture book and read it or have it read to them. I could also do online digital tangrams, and I could even link this to maybe a Google slide where everybody is working on the same slide to write a story. Linking to Schoology folders as well. So here's math, science, and reading. And if I click on the math portion, it's going to take me into the math section. Nothing in there today. So it's a very cool way for our non-readers to be able to get that visual, but also too, like my son's a senior and he's a visual person. So if you are tying the words in with a picture or a meme or a GIF or a video clip, it's a lot more likely to catch his attention, and he's not going to just bypass it in his senior slump kind of thing. The newest thing with Hyperdocs that I think is just amazing, and I love Hyperdocs, I've loved them for years, and the Hyperdocs gals, you can actually copy and paste an entire Hyperdoc into a page and then have it online. This is one that I got off of the Hyperdoc site, teachersgiveteachers.com. And this one was created by Kelly Hinton. A little apropos, since we're talking about Thanksgiving here, should Native Americans be mascots? And all I did was copy her Google Doc and paste it in here, and already the links were automatically linked in here. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. So great. I don't create them very often, but I do love to share them. One of the coolest things we have at one of our high schools here is actually a what we call a project-based learning block of classes. So the history and English teachers have connected together. We've rebuilt part of the school to where there's a very large gathering room, lots of flexible furniture. We have a para that's in there, and there's about 60, well, in normal times, not now, 60 to 70 students that are taking this block of classes. It's a two and a half, I think, hour block. So they have their Hyperdoc and they're working on their Hyperdoc, and each of them have certain times when they're going to go into the smaller rooms. One is with the English teacher to be working on editing and revising papers that they're working on. The other room is with the history teacher, and that's going to be a discussion on maybe a video or a book or something they're reading. There's always a novel tied into it as well. One of my favorite stories to tell about that is when I went in to visit, I sat down at a table with some kids, and these are 9th and 10th graders. And I just said, hey, can I ask you, a couple questions about what you're doing? And one of the guys at the table was like, I would love to talk to you, but I have 10 minutes and I have to finish reading this article because I'm going into the discussion group and I don't want to be ill prepared. Wow, how often do you hear that come from high school kids? But being able to put this into a page within Schoology, they can go out and in. You could also click here for anything that they would need to turn in, click it to an assignment as well. But I just love the idea that I could copy the whole thing, and then what she already had linked took me straight out. I thought that was really amazing. On the slide deck, and I think you guys have a bit.ly for that, there is a link right here to get to that Teachers Pay Teacher, or Teachers Give Teachers, sorry, the Hyperdocs page, and you can look for samples on every subject. You can also search by grade level, and these are free to anybody to use. They also have a section where you can upload, so if you've created a really cool Hyperdoc, you can upload it, and they have templates if you want to build one, but you're not really sure where to start. It's a great place to be. All right, so assessments. There are a million assessments. I've linked here to a Schoology help page that is all about the different kinds of assessments. A few years ago, Schoology moved away from test quiz and into assessments, and they added quite a few different types of questions. I generally would get stuck on the multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank, because the thing I loved about assessments within Schoology is that it graded for me, and grading was the bane of my existence. In kindergarten, you don't grade anything because it's all you're observing their growth and their processes. But in 5th grade, it was just piles and piles and piles of grading. So that was the one thing I really loved about Schoology. But they've added so many new types of questions beyond that you could really have an entire day going through and trying out some of the different types. There's a lot now that help with practice for state testing, which I don't know about you guys, we didn't have it last year. I know that our superintendent has combined with other Colorado Springs superintendents to petition CDE to not have any standardized testing again this year. But if it comes back again, a lot of these are similar to what you would see in that standardized testing to help get kids, especially 3rd, 4th grade students who are just learning about the horrible, terrible world of standardized testing, get them used to that. One of my favorite ones is label image, and I'm just going to click on that to show you kind of what this help page will help you with. So in here, it will go through and it'll show you how to set up your question. It takes you step by step through that. If you want to add an image, how you can add a title and some alternate text, how to click the response box and put in the correct answers for the students. You can add different responses if you want to. This one can be, you can have it as a drag and drop. You can select the scoring type, if it has to be an exact match or a partial match. If there's 2 responses that can be used, the same response can be used in a couple of different places, and how to set up for partial credit as well. Now, some of these, a lot of these cool ones are enterprise only, which is the paid version of Schoology. So if you're working on the free free version, they might not be accessible to you. And then if you want to have a penalty score, I'm not sure why you want to do that. So it goes through everything step by step. It's really fantastic. Label image is one of my favorite. And then they have highlight a hotspot or an image, or highlighting text, I think is really great. You don't see this very often in online testing, but like a math short answer, using a number line or a chart as well. But let me show you what I think is life-changing in assessments. If you are an elementary level teacher and you have to give spelling tests, oh my goodness. The first time somebody was like, oh yeah, you teach 5th grade, now you have to give a pre-test, and you have to grade the pre-test, and then you have to give a post-test, and you have to grade the post-test. Blah! I already hated grading, and now I was having to grade these two things. Very quickly, I moved to having the vocabulary tests on Schoology, but I had no idea. How would you give a spelling test in Schoology? Well, let me just show you. It's very, very, very easy. Oh, I think I want to go back to edit. Oh, no, I'm good here. So you're going to want to choose a fill in the blank test. I started this one, so I'm going to come in here and, oh, no, it's not going to let me do that. Let me go back out to edit. I always liked to have a sentence for students because I felt like having, was it going to let me go in and do it? Having the word within context was a lot more important than just the word in isolation. That just drove me crazy. Let's see, maybe it will. Let me go in here. Okay. So that's why I'm choosing fill in the blank here. I think it's the easiest way to do it. Is it going to let me go in? Maybe not. Okay. So let's just go from the start. All right, so I'm gonna say the blank dog was sleeping. So what I can do here is I can go up to this little icon with the music note, and I can record my voice. I can upload it if I've recorded it somewhere else, but I think it's just as easy to record it right in here. I'm going to click record audio, click here to begin. Oh, and I already forgot what I said. Your word is lazy. Lazy. The lazy dog was sleeping. Lazy. So then I'm going to click finish. And my internet is being slow. Close out some of these other tabs, maybe help. Nope. Oh, sorry. Too many tabs open. All right, so I'm going to play it back to listen to it. Okay, so I can save that. Save. Come on. Okay, very good. So it's going to upload it. I can choose, I like the button. And then I'm going to click on OK. Now, of course, you'll have to train your students that they need to click this. Then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to type in lazy. I want it to be an exact match. I'm not going to give a penalty score. I do want it to be case sensitive because I'm trying to teach my students not to put capital letters in the middle. I can attach learning objectives to it, which is great. And then I'm going to click save. So now when my students go to this question, they'll have all this information. I thought that was absolutely amazing. I don't know if you guys think that's as cool as I did, but you could do that with your pretest, and then you could mix up the questions, and it could also be your post-test as well. And then you could set up for, I know I always had my students, if you had 100% on the pretest, you don't have to take the post-test. So you could adjust their scores in the grade book to reflect if they'd gotten that 100% or not. All right, so I went a little bit faster than I thought I would, but that just gives a little bit more time if you guys have questions. This is my information, my Twitter at Riggs World. I have been, I'll just in all transparency say, I have been avoiding social media. I'm doing a 40 days without social media. So I haven't been active on there in a while. It just is good for my mental balance, but I will be back on there probably after Thanksgiving. Or you can email me. My email is mlriggs@d49.org. I just renewed my level 2 Google certification. I've got my level 1. And looming over my head is to try to work on my trainer. But I haven't got to that as well. So like I said in the beginning, if you take away at least one new idea that gets you excited about working with your students when you come back from Thanksgiving break, then my work here is done. And if you had some things that I talked about that you're already doing, give yourself a pat on the back, because wow, it's great when you have these little tips and tricks. It makes kids more excited about learning. It makes your job easier as a teacher. It makes parents happy, especially now that they're also working as kind of your partner teacher, your co-teacher. So there you go. All right. Tiffany, do we have any questions?
Yeah, Melissa, that was great. We had some folks getting pretty excited, especially about the audio questions. So a question for you that came up from Laura, I'm going to put it on the screen too, is what does a Schoology portfolio export look like?
Oh, that is a great question. And I'm not even really sure because I have never exported it. So let's see if we go back here. It's unpublished. So let's see. I don't know. Stumped the person. Hold on. Let's see if we can. Let's go to the Schoology Help Center, because you know what? I mean, it's like Google, right? If you don't know the answer, let's look it up. So let's say, what does a portfolio export look like? I don't know if it'll come up. All right, how to use portfolios, but that's from 6 years ago. Let's go over here. Let's see. Exporting Schoology portfolio. All right. So here we go. How do I use portfolios? Create it. Let's scroll down and see. It's got the export piece. Editing. Sharing your portfolio. Okay. Whoops. Oh my gosh. My Wi-Fi at home is so tired. I'm sure you guys, if Wi-Fi was a person, right, it would look like that old lady that's like, you know, in the meme that says, I'm only 28 years old, but man, am I tired, right? I think that's how ours is. And I think every day I'm so happy that I only have one child left at home to be using it. Okay, so this is how to share it. Where's the export? Export. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be a zip file. So from the More menu, select Export to Zip, download a copy, and then, I don't know. I'm going to have to look into this some more. But let's see if we can go back and more options. I didn't even see that in here, but maybe that's because mine is not set up. Maybe from here. Oh, here we go. So export to zip. I don't have anything in it, so I don't know what it's going to look like. Although I did have a page, right? It's being generated and will be available for download shortly. Great question, Laura. I am totally not prepared for your answer. I hope you're not offended. But I'm going to make a copy of this and let me go into portfolios. And I'm going to add, oh, it's not going to let me do it there. Oh, shoot. That's my timer. All right. Let me, if you want to go to the next question, I'm going to add the link in that has the directions for how to export it. So that way you won't have to wait on me to export mine, which had nothing in it. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I've never exported anything really from Schoology. So I wonder what a page is going to look like when it's exported. That's a really great question.
Okay. So then we did have Mrs. Kara said, the key to the copy paste is that it has to be from a Google Doc. Schoology doesn't paste images from Word docs. Sorry, Office 365 schools. Do you have experience with that too, or?
No, because we're a Google district.
Right.
So yeah, we don't use Office 365. Although we do, I mean, we're trying to get our students where they're not brand agnostic, so they can use Apple, they can use Google, they can use Microsoft, but it's a battle because teachers are so attached, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So that's a bummer. I did not know that. But could you, if it was a Hyperdoc that was a Microsoft, you could put it in your Google Drive. It'll automatically shift it over to a Google Doc, and then you could copy and paste from there. I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm with you. I'm a Google user, and someone who shall not be named was saying they might just do a workaround and use their personal Google account for it anyways, but just so people are aware.
Yeah, that's a good thing to know. And that's one of those things like when you're working in Schoology on the website, and then the kids are like, I can't get there, I don't know how to get there. And you're like, but they're on the app, right? It's two different things. Okay, let's see. Let me refresh that and make sure that shows up here. That link to exporting. No. There we go. Okay, yep, there it is. Whoa. All kinds of things are going crazy over here.
That's all right.
Okay, what else?
So Miss Colleen Miller wants to know if you have any other videos that they can watch, if you've got any other webinars or anything.
Oh, myself?
Yeah.
I did one for Schoology at the beginning of the year, and I don't really know what happened to it. It was supposed to air in September, and then I ended up going to Dallas kind of on short notice to help my parents move into a smaller house closer to my sister. And I don't know if it ever ran, but it was basically on partnering with parents, like parents as your co-teacher. And I've presented at the last 4 or 5 Schoology Next conferences, and at Connect Colorado, the last probably 3 Connect Colorado. So I'm sure those are floating out there somewhere.
So tentatively Google your name, but fingers crossed nothing bad comes up, right?
Well, I Googled it the other day. I couldn't even find myself. I was like, where am I? But yeah, I have a YouTube channel, but it doesn't really have anything on it. So sorry, gotcha. I'm not all that cool. I don't think of myself as that cool.
That is all right. So it looks like, for the most part, that those are the questions that were popping up. I'm looking through. I don't see anything else. I would highly encourage you. I'm a Google trainer. You should do it. It's great. You get a great community. I know that's important to you.
I know. It's just the time to do it, right?
Yes.
And then I had to think about too, like I had to renew my level 1 in last March, and then I just renewed my level 2 in October. And I was like, do I really want to have that trainer where I'm going to have to renew it around the same time as the other ones? So that's been my my thought process for not actually getting my trainer done right now. Like, I'll just wait till the spring.
When you've got some time.
Time, because things are going to get back to normal and we're all going to be back teaching normally again. And you can actually go out and eat dinner normally and travel and see your friends and those kind of things, right? So I don't know. And
and luckily
that.
It's a monthly thing, so it's not like you have to wait till a certain time. You can every month for everybody out there.
Yes, true. Yeah, there's a lot of great things, out there as well. Schoology also, I will say too, has a great community. If you're kind of new to Schoology or you've been around for a while, they do have a Schoology. I think it's a group, new to Schoology or something like that. That is a great place to ask questions and get support. I think their help pages are amazing. That's where I've seen a lot of great ideas. I mean, you can't always have all the ideas yourself, but man, you can sure borrow, beg, and steal from other people. And then tweak it to make it your own or use it as is. It's a really great platform, and I'm glad that that's all I've ever really known. I know people that have started with Google Classroom and then come over to Schoology and just been like, oh my gosh, where's this been all my life? I've only ever used Schoology, so I feel very lucky that I haven't had to
or the reverse for me and have to go to Google Classroom after loving my Schoology.
Yeah.
So we've got one more question we will do before we wrap up. Any new tricks with bulk edit? So I had a teacher need it yesterday, and I know the background to this is there was some issues with the grade not appearing, and so in the grade book, bulk edit.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen anything lately. I know there've been some problems. I've been hearing, there's some struggles with it. We also, Schoology got bought out by Power School, so we are a Power School district as well. So we've got a little bit of that grade pass back, which I think helps us kind of circumvent that a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. There are definitely some challenges.
Yep.
With everything, but I'd have to look that one up too. I don't know. Let's see what it says in here. This worked so well. Bulk edit in Schoology. Let's see what it says. Well, here's something from August, but I don't know if that's going to be
new enough.
Well, here's one from October 15th. The video, so that might give bulk edit an overhaul. This is probably somebody saying, hey, it needs some work.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah, it doesn't have an answer to it at all. So no, sorry. I'm not very helpful in the question department today.
Hey, that's all right. They're both coming from Laura, so we'll have to give her a hard time for throwing you for a loop constantly.
That's okay. It gets my wheels spinning too. Like, ooh, I'm going to have to go and play with that tomorrow. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And it's all in what people are like having trouble with, right? That's usually when you're looking, especially for me, since I'm not in the classroom, I'm not using it with students. Now we run 95% of our professional development in District 49 through Schoology. And so I run right now, I've got 9 classes running for professional development in Schoology on different things. But, it doesn't have quite the lift that if you're running a classroom with students that those have. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, I'm like already writing that over here. Okay, bulk edit, look that up. Spend more time with portfolios.
Yeah, always learning.
Yes. Yeah. And that's good though, because, the world is changing and our students are asking questions, then we have to be flexible enough to jump in. And one of the hardest things I think for teachers is to be able to say, I don't know the answer to that.
Yep.
Because, for years we had our teacher manual and we had the answers. And, I think it's great for our kids to see us struggle and go, yeah, I don't know. That's a great question.
Right?
Figure it out.
I love
it. Doesn't bother me too much to be stumped, and hopefully nobody's like, man, she really was. God, she didn't know what she was talking about.
No, I don't think so. After that presentation, I think we're pretty impressed.
Oh, good. It's hard when you can't see people's faces and you can't, judge the room, how it's going. Like, is anybody laughing at my jokes? Is my hair out of place?
Right. What a weird world right now.
Yes.
I love it.
It is.
All right. So then everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I did want to just kind of reiterate some things about, join GEG Colorado. It is not just for folks in Colorado. It is for anyone who uses Google and just needs, a place to get some questions answered, share ideas, all that good stuff. You can find us on Twitter. We are at GEG Colorado. You can find us on Facebook. We have a GEG Colorado Facebook group that you can join, and we try to do some activities in there. You can find us on YouTube to get access to all of our past events and everything. And you can also, I dropped our website in the chat so you can see that's where all of our past events are. That's where, you can reach out and contact us and everything and tell us what you need, what you would like from our sessions and everything. So in addition, we have our PD credit for attending today. So just go to bit.ly/GEGCO-PD cert. Remember that bit.ly is case sensitive, so I did drop that in chat as well. And then at the bottom, you can select if you want to be entered to win one of our really cool GEG Colorado pins that I will ship off to you. And so otherwise, guys, thank you so much. Melissa, thank you so much for a great session. And I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend and a great Thanksgiving break. So thanks.
Yep. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. It's a great way to start Saturday.
Woohoo! All right, guys, have a good one. Bye-bye.